Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. Usual stuff, bit of a special one, this one. It does get mentioned throughout this one, but this was very much a week that will probably have changed my life forever. Stay tuned to find out what I mean by that, and that's not a tease, it's genuine. This is the usual. Games, movies, TV, a little bit less of some, a little bit more of others. But again, stay tuned for that. Before we start, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Drop in reviews you might want to drop. Share the podcast around. That's the key right now. Share the podcast around. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello. How you doing? You alright? Oh, what a doozy of a podcast I've got for you today. I think it's in some ways safe to say that the last week has been, or will go on to be, one of the biggest weeks of my life, and not for the right reasons. Things that have happened in the last week will affect the rest of my life. And again, not for the right reasons. I'll get into all of that. There's some stuff from earlier in the week, like earlier last week sort of thing. We've still got some entertainment stuff. Limited. You'll understand when we get to it. Obviously, yes, very much of a tease and all of that, and I know I'm terrible for it, but you'll understand, you'll see. So let's start talking about recovery. I know you've heard this word before. Any health, fitness, well-being type podcast, YouTube page, whatever you want, will talk recovery at some point. Get lots of sleep, eat, rest days, all that sort of stuff. Not really going to be a surprise that that's not the recovery I'm talking about. I am talking about old man recovery. And old man recovery looks a little something like this. So, last weekend, honestly, and again, I know, but honestly, saying last weekend feels like a million years ago. So last weekend was the driving a lot, travelling to Manchester, travelling to Scotland, travelling here, there and everywhere, doing a lot of driving. As most people will know at this point in time, I don't drink. Haven't done for many years. I've had more years in my life not drinking than I've had drinking, and I don't use any substances. The short version is I don't take any drugs. Now then, I want to make sure the only thing that I really have in my life that would be considered to be a substance is probably caffeine. Caffeine is probably the better way of doing it because I do have an energy drink here and there. But for clarity, coffee is basically the only thing. There's nothing else. So, when I come back to what I was saying about recovery, when I talk about recovery, I'm not talking about a hangover, recovering from drinking, recovering from any form of drug use. There may be some recovery from drinking way too much coffee, but we're going to talk about a different form of recovery. So I went away, I did a lot of driving, I got home, and that was the end of that. It was done. To my knowledge, at this point in time, nobody died. Although, another long story that probably doesn't need to be discussed right now. So, Monday. I will have spoken about Monday last Monday. There was a lot of getting in late, getting home at 4:15, getting up at, 7 o'clock or whatever. Taking my youngest daughter to preschool. I'm pretty sure there was a run involved. All these sorts of things. I lost weight. I proceeded to eat like a king. All that sort of stuff. But the realisation that as a 42, over 42 and a half, go back to being like at school, year-old man, you don't have to recover from drinking too much, doing too many drugs, or any of those things anymore. You have to recover from missing a few hours of sleep. You have to recover from, like I say, maybe it's the drinking too much coffee. I never factored in, hey, if I'm going to be sleep deprived here, here and here, hey, if I'm going to do all of this driving here, here and here, hey, if I'm going to drink as much in monetary value in coffee as I spent on petrol, think about that in the number of miles that I did, it's going to take more than a day to recover. I think by Thursday last week, my legs had just about recovered. By Thursday last week, my legs were just in absolute agony, which will be from the driving, from some of the walking that was done on the Saturday, from certainly the drive home. The drive to Edinburgh, there was a lot of motorway involved. For the drive home, there wasn't. There was a lot of twisty-turny roads that were supposed to be 60, but whether you ever get up to 60 is unlikely. A lot of stress involved, driving home in the middle of the night in the dark with your high beams on, and you've got a passenger, and you don't want to be the guy that ends up in a ditch. So there's the stress and stuff. I was still tired. I was still in a lot of pain. I was still aching. I was still getting out and running, but was just in so much pain. My body felt like I'd been through some kind of industrial-sized washing machine. And these are the things you don't think about. You, as a non-drinker and a non-substance user, you get to a point in time where you're like, hey, I'm basically bulletproof. You guys, you're all knocking back these beers. You guys, you're going to be feeling crap tomorrow morning. I'm going to feel magic because I just have a Diet Coke. That's what you think. Next thing, it's like, I started wondering whether it would have been easier to have a drink if I was going to end up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. How much further removed am I from, oh man, I drank too much last night, when it takes me the best part of 4 days to recover? I could recover from a night out on the old sauce inside of a day. How much better off am I by not drinking and trying to recover? I have to work on the principle, honestly, that if I'd have been drinking, it would have taken me even longer to recover. That surely has to be the answer on that one. But yes, I think the short version is, as an old man, I didn't take into account just how much recovery was going to be involved with not drinking, not using any substance, but being sleep deprived and doing a lot of driving. It's a clear sign that you're old. I think we can all agree with that. As anybody knows that's been listening for the last few weeks, Project Get Out of Bed and Do Something. It's had its ups and downs. It's had its... Was it last week where I talked about the day that I'd stayed in bed? Was it last week? I think it might. I don't know. So, different type of update, this one. There was a day... I've heard of this, and now I have experienced it. There was a day last week, I'm lying in bed. I'm all snuggly buggly. I was like, ooh, I'm really enjoying this sleep. And then, like some kind of spring-loaded apparatus, my eyes sprung open. And I went, what the hell's going on? Why am I awake? What has woken me up? Do I need the toilet? And you do the checklist, you know. Burglars, toilet, bombs going off, any of these sorts of things. So then I was like, well, I am awake. Not even just like, what was that? I'm awake. So what time is it? I checked the time and I went, oh no. It's finally happened. And like I said, I've heard of this phenomenon before, but believe you me, never thought I would experience this. I woke up 1 minute before my alarm was due to go off. And part of me, I can't comment on how big a part of me died. I was just like, oh my word, I've become that person. I've heard about this. I've heard about if you start, like, if you do something so many times, like 16 times, it becomes habit. And I think by that point, I've probably been in that kind of region of getting up, you know, early every day and all of that. I was like, oh, it's happening. I'm going to start waking up earlier and earlier and earlier. Maybe I'll never sleep. Maybe I've ruined all my sleep pattern. I don't know. I don't know how I feel, because there was that part of me that was like, ah, man, shit. Then there was that part of me that was like, hey, you know, it's a positive step. You know, in a relatively short amount of time, you've managed to make this change. And your body has clearly got on board with this. Your body's like, yeah, I can do this. And being 40 plus years old and doing the whole, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, all of that sort of stuff. Apparently that's not true. And you can change, and you can change your lifestyle. You can change all that sort of stuff. But there was a part of me that died a little inside. Now then, here's the other thing. Because I can't say that it has happened consistently since, but it has kept happening. That will have been, I mean, that could have even been Thursday when I was still in recovery. So there might have been something to it, but there was Friday, Saturday, there was another day where it happened. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. Things are changing. I don't know if there's any relation, but going on to talking about the next thing is that I was really struggling with motivation last week. There was a lot of why the hell am I doing this? What exactly am I trying to achieve? I think it was some sort of rebellion against what was happening. Like, oh my God, I'm awake. Why am I awake? What is this? What's happening right now? What is the purpose? What am I achieving? Going back X number of years to where I was just tired all the time, and it made me grumpy and, you know, tension, and I could, you know, fly off the handle at any moment and all that sort of stuff. And I had to sort of rein that in, because That's not the answer. It's never going to be the answer. But then keeping that under check, there's that little bit of stress added to that. So I don't know if it was all like a combination of all these things that was then putting me in a position where I was like, just why? What's the point? Why am I doing this? What am I trying to achieve? A couple of people have said to me, like, what, are you training for something? Are you trying to do something? Have you got a race in mind? All this sort of stuff. And it's like, yes and no. Yes, I am secretly in training for a race. But at the same time, no, I'm not specifically. I haven't signed up to do a specific race. I'm just trying to see what I can achieve. So, motivation was probably at the lowest. It was one of those where it was like, I need to go and I'd be like, I need to go and do a workout. Okay, I need to go and do a workout. And hours would pass. And whereas it would be like a comfortable point in time to go and do it, then it was like a little bit later. So it's like, it's a bit later, but I've still got plenty of time. And then by the time I'd actually go and do a workout, I'd be right up against it. So, motivation was at its absolute worst. So, at the height of this, at the peak of this, at the point in time that it was the absolute worst, I realised I need to get this in check, I need to make some changes. So the next day, from the height of this, I set out in the morning. I got out the door with plenty of time, which I don't want to be be that way, but that's no small feat. I realise it takes me quite a while to get out of the house when your day starts at 5:30. A lot of that is to do with wandering around in the dark. I don't want to disturb anyone. I don't want to wake anyone up. I don't want to be the cause of other people losing sleep. It's silly things like I don't want to disturb the cats, because if I were to disturb the cats at 5:30 in the morning, they're just going to disturb everybody else. That kind of thing. So, I wander around, and I don't even put the torch on my phone. I just use the screen. And it's like, I need to find a pair of socks. Where, which item of clothing is where, shorts, leggings, top. They're all in different places. Jacket or hooded top of some description. They're all in different places. Plasters. Don't ask. Is it a weighted vest day? Is it not? Is it, earphones, gloves, keys, phone. All of that takes time. Actually getting dressed, So although you say, oh, my day starts at 5:30, yeah, but you haven't achieved anything until more often than not, 10 past, 6:15. So I set out on a particular day to change all of that, get out of the door before 6, which did. What that meant was the opportunity to get 2 hours solid running before needing to be back home and doing daytime stuff, which I did. So the irony being is that I then went out and did my longest ever run. My running app told me, this is your longest run, and I went, sweet. It was good. It was nice. It was good to get back to that, because that had been starting to get away from me. I'd set a goal where every time I went out the door to run, I wanted the app to say, this is your longest run, and that very quickly vanished. And there was a lot of that kind of life gets in the way kind of thing, rather than, oh, I don't want to go and run. It wasn't I don't want to go and run, it's I haven't got the time, even starting the day at 5:30. So it was nice to see the return of that. Some of the downsides are things like the other evening, I was super excited because, and this is how sad it is, but it is what it is. I was super excited because I had a free evening, which boils down to about an hour and a half to sit, play on the PlayStation, watch a movie, actually read for once. Not for once, but actually read like more than 2 pages before you step into bed, kind of thing. All of those things that you don't get the opportunity to do the rest of the time. Fantastic. Go into the games room, sit down, PlayStation on, TV on, drink ready, boom, here we go. I don't know if I made it 5 minutes. What I can tell you is 2 hours later, when I woke up on the sofa and went, oh, for flippity-dooda's sake. So the whole point of that was completely lost all my evening. It was also an hour after I should have gone to bed, which then just puts everything back. And then I'm like, I've got a full non-alcoholic beer to drink. I've got to go to bed. I didn't play anything. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's the life of an old man, I'm afraid. So, I need to wet my whistle. Let me get a drink. No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just turning around for 1 second. Because the next bit is going to be a doozy. Can you still hear me? Half a pint down in one. Woo! Let me tell you a little story. This little story is not a little story. It spans 2-3 days up to now. And it's got twists and turns. Anyway, let's get started. Saturday morning. If you've been listening for a little while, you're probably aware about I've been doing a park run, Saturday morning park run. You'd probably also be aware that I was not a huge fan of my local park run for a variety of different reasons. Just a bit of a recap. I don't believe the people that go there are overly nice. And I also would say that the people who run it, volunteer, whatever you want to say, believe themselves to be more important than the people actually running it, which just seems weird. I do understand the principles of volunteering, and I do understand that, you appreciate people that do that, but when it's made out to be more important than the thing that they're volunteering to do, it gets a bit weird. Long story, short version there. So, this was the first week where I said, screw this. I'm not doing a park run. I'm going to do better than a park run. I'm going to get up at 5:30, get ready to go and run. I'm going to go out the door. I'm going to run. I'm going to get plenty of miles in. A lot of miles. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get the dog. I'm going to take the dog for a nice long walk. Get back from that. Do a workout. Finish workout. Showered, dressed, ready to start the day. It was all planned out. It was beautiful. It was perfect. So, I did that. I got up. I got out the door. Reasonable sort of time. I knew I had enough time to do at least 8 miles. At least 8 miles. As long as I, stuck at it, was consistent. So I go out the door. I run 2 miles in one direction. I run half a mile, and then I run 2 miles back. No, not true. I run just under 2 miles. Then I make a turning to run part of a 2 mile course. not course as such, just an area that I know is 2 miles, but only part of it. Then I aim to tag on another 2 miles, part of another 2 miles. This should bring us to round about 8 miles. Job done. So I've done the 2 out, the half, and the 1.5 back, 1.25 back. Make a turn in, run down, make another turn in, run down a very long road, make another turn in, and then head off to do this additional route that I know is like 2 miles. So I'm running and I'm running and I'm checking the time, making sure I've got plenty of time, because I need to be home at a specific time. I'm running and I'm running and I'm running. And as I'm just coming to the point where I'm about to make a turn to start heading home, the last section to head home, there are some building works going on. Now I know this, they've been going on for a few months. The biggest issue with all of this is that they've removed the pavement to do the building works. Now, short version there is, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. Now, part of you is like, probably shouldn't be running down there. You're running on the road, but it's also that time of day as well is relatively quiet. So I'm running along the road. There is a point where you can then, if you want to, cut back onto the pavement that is left, which is what I decided to do. So I cut across from the road, across the like what would be a grass verge that's mostly just mud, to go onto the pavement. And something happened. So there is a raised manhole cover. Now, yes, not an ideal situation, a raised manhole cover, not great, but I know it's there, so that's fine. However, something's gone wrong. Something has gone drastically wrong, because I have misjudged where the manhole cover is, the height of the manhole cover, the fact that I'm 6.5 miles, going on for 7 miles into an 8-mile run, and something went wrong because I kick the manhole cover with my left foot. My left big toe takes the brunt of the kick, and something happened which in some ways is still a little sketchy. I've managed to piece together what happened. I fell flat on my face. And what I mean when I say that is my face hit the concrete pavement. Now then, going back to what happened, I can take you through it. It went like this. Kick. Hang on a minute, what's happening? Why is the world rotating at speed? Oh shit, I must be falling. What the actual fuck? How is this happening? Oh, hang on a minute, I should probably try and stop this from happening before something really bad happens. Oh no. Too late. One point, Leanne said to me, surprised you didn't hurt your knees. The knees didn't come into it. The knees, there's a small amount of damage into the knees. Knees didn't come into it. Neither did the arms, hands, whatever. But they did. There was some contact with the hands. But like I say, face into the ground. Now then, I'm going to give you fair warning. Fair warning. If you are listening to this on earphones, if you are listening to this, I don't know, in your car or on giant speakers, you might want to turn it down for the next minute or so. I hit the deck. I don't know. like one of those like crash test dummies, like a sack full of bricks. I don't know how to describe it. Like a very large man that forgot that falling existed and only worked it out 0.4 seconds before coming in contact with the ground. The sound I made went something like this. Repeat that about 20 times. Now then, my hands have come into play somewhere along the line. Something's gone wrong. The sound, I can still hear the sound now, and it haunts me. Immediately I knew that I needed to roll over. So I roll onto my back. So I'm now lying basically in the street on my back, making that sound. I won't make it again, but believe me, about 20 times I made that noise. I knew something was wrong. I knew something was bad. I knew that something had gone wrong. I just needed to reset all the systems. Control, Alt, Delete. Turn it off, turn it back on. All of that before I could do like a systems check. Weirdly, the first thing I decided to check was my face. So I checked my face. I'm pretty sure I'm bleeding. And I'm pretty sure I'm bleeding badly. However, no sign of me being bleeding. So, here's the two things I did once I managed to get to my feet. Number one, text Leanne the words, "I've fallen over." That was it. And here's my dedication to you, the lovely podcast people. I made a note on my podcast list. Fell over while running. That's what it actually says. I'm looking at it now. So, I knew things weren't right. And I'm trying to assess what things aren't right. So the face, I'm pretty sure I've got some pretty severe road rash. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm probably bleeding. And I'm probably bleeding quite badly. I just can't tell. I had gloves on. So when I was touching my face, I was like, well, I wouldn't be able to see the blood anyway. Right hand, very painful. Very, very painful. Obviously taking a lot of the brunt. Like I said, knees didn't really get a look in. Left arm hurts a lot. So I'm like, okay, let me try and piece it again. I've kicked the thing. I've gone, toe hurts because I kicked it. I've gone down. Did I land on my left side more than my right? Is that because I've kicked it with my left? Here's where it gets weird. I need to keep moving. I've got to be home at a particular time. So I keep moving. I'm walking down a hill now. Because I'm going downhill, I start picking up speed. And went, well, I do need to be home, so seeing as I can move, I should keep moving. And proceeded to run home. The whole time going, what just happened? I get home, I'm like, by the time I get home, I was like, I think I've potentially broken something, which is going to be real sucky because I've never officially broken anything. There's a possibility that I broke both of my little toes, never confirmed. So, on my nose, again, never really confirmed. So, working on the principle, never broken a bone. Woohoo! I run home. I get home. I'm like, I think my left arm's broken. I think my left arm's broken. So, I get home. I manage to get the door open. Leanne, children are there, literally heading out the door to go shopping. And my words are, did you get my message? No. I'm getting ready to go. It's like, cool. I've fallen over and it's bad. So, a little bit of upset there. And it was like, oh, do you need me to stay? And I was like, no, you just need to go. I'm just gonna go and sit down, I think. Well, don't do any working out. Like, probably not able to. So that was that. I didn't. No surprise, I didn't do any working out. I did manage to shower. I was in a lot of pain. Funnily enough, looked in the mirror when I got back. Absolutely no sign of any damage done to my face. Zero sign of any damage done to my face. So, the moneymaker's still intact. I need another drink. So, got plans, as you would on Saturday. Climbing. So, get everybody, go climbing. There's a problem with parking. I've got a problem with driving. The shortest version is I can't use my left arm at all. Probably a clear sign something's wrong. Went climbing. My youngest daughter decided it was a really good idea whilst climbing to just let go of the wall. Fell into my left arm. That tickled. The more time passes, the more I'm like, I don't think I should be in this situation unless something is quite severely wrong. So, then comes the question, when the hell to brave A&E? So, Saturday evening's out of the question, because as I'm sure everybody knows, the last place you want to be on a Saturday night is a hospital. That then works on the principle you've got to get all the way through to Sunday morning. Sunday morning, not a great time to go to the hospital either. I'm like, look, let's just get through the weekend. If need be, I can go in the middle of the night. All this, there was a lot of various different options. However, as the day wore on, those options started becoming less and less and less because the likelihood that I needed to go to the hospital because something was broken got more and more and more. And I'm like, you are kidding me. So I'm like, I need somebody to just tell me it's muscular. But here's the thing. The right hand that I'd hurt when I fell, by so far through the day, had basically recovered. The knees basically recovered. The face basically didn't. I don't know what happened with the face. It may be indestructible. Who knows? My arm, my left arm, never recovered in the slightest. So an agreement was reached. The agreement was everything between Saturday evening and early hours of Sunday morning was a terrible time to go to A&E. However, hitting a particular window Sunday morning might just allow to A, not have to deal with all the drunken idiots, and B, not have to be there for the entire day. So, out of bed, 7 o'clock Sunday morning, the arm's no better, I go and shower, I can just about shower, and I mean just about, get dressed, load everybody into the car in pyjamas, not me, I was dressed, and away we go to A&E. Getting to A&E was more difficult than it probably needs to be at that point in time. In hindsight, should have just walked past a certain point. Anyway, so the family leave me, they go, look, if you need something, let us know. I packed a bag, not an overnight bag, but I packed a bag of things I might need. A bottle of water. I took a coffee with me, a Kindle, paracetamol. That was something. I'd had to take paracetamol. Bad sign. I never take painkillers unless it's bad. I take painkillers about once every 3 years. And I'd taken painkillers, so I knew it was bad. So, I took a bag of goodies, things to keep me occupied, earphones, all sorts of stuff because I was like, I'm going to be here for hours. I'm going to be here for the day. Finally got into A&E. Lady at the counter was like, can I help you? I said, I was out running yesterday morning. I tripped over. I've fallen on my left arm, and I've not been able to use it since. First thing she said, any guesses? And you didn't come in yesterday? No, I didn't come in yesterday. Okay. Anywhere else you're injured? I said, actually, yes. When I fell over because I kicked something with my toe, and my toe is now purple. Okay, toe. Cool. Take a seat, somebody will come. As I went to sit down, I saw a sign, and the sign said, waiting time to see a doctor, 6 hours. Now, I was there around about 9 in the morning, a little bit later than I'd wanted to be, but hey, getting 6 people out of the house and a dog is never going to be an easy task. So, sitting waiting A&E for literally 10 minutes. A lady comes to me. She says, she goes through the stuff. I was like, yeah, that's me. She's like, I need to put this bracelet thing on you, and I'm going to tell you where to go. I was like, cool. So you need to go to minor injuries. Like, minor? To you, maybe. She gave me directions, and away I went. Now, when I got to where I was told to go, like, I'm not there, and there's no sign. In the end, I ended up going to main reception, and I was like, I'm supposed to go to minor injuries. And they were like, have you been to A&E? I said, yes. They were like, go and wait over there. I was like, cool. I went and took a seat. About 20 past 9 at this point in time. The TV, the little TV, reliably informed me that it was a 3-hour wait. So, everything up till 10 o'clock, nothing. No movement, nobody in, nobody out, nothing. I'm like, it's Sunday morning. Most people probably aren't going to start work until 10. 10 o'clock rolls round, people start going in. Nurses, doctors. Can you come here? Can you come here? You come here, you do this, you do that. More people came in. I'm working on the principal. I'm so far in the queue. So, I think it was about between 11 and 20 past 11. So, 2 hours later, somebody called my name. And I went, ooh, that's me. Desperately trying to drink a coffee that was way too hot, and it's in a thing that's going to keep it hot. So, totally different story, relevant later. I follow this lady. She's like, come with me. She's like, I hear you've hurt your arm and your toe. I was like, yeah, but the toe's not really a problem. She's like, well, you said it hurts, and you said it's purple, so we need to look at that. Let's look at that first. She looked at it, and she went, it's on a joint. I was like, yeah. She's like, can you bend it? I was like, honestly, I can't work out how to bend my toe, so I don't know. Like, okay, does it hurt here? No. Ooh, yes. You're going to need an x-ray for that. Why? Well, it hurts, it's on a joint, and it could be broken. By the way, you need your toes for balance. I was like, fine. She's like, right, let's look at this arm. So, went through, like, taking off the jacket, rolling the sleeve up. She's like, not gonna lie, your tattoos don't help. Yes, I appreciate the tattoos don't help. She was like, but I can tell you this, you look out of shape. I was like, whoa, I'm trying to lose the weight. No, she said, you're a funny shape. I was like, okay. She's like, okay, can you move it this way, that way, and the other way? I was like, yes, and no. She was like, I already know what you've done. I was like, all right. She's like, you have broken your radial. It's like, it's a common injury when you fall over and you try and stop yourself and you break the bone and it goes into another bone. It goes into your humerus. And I went, oh, don't say these things to me. I can't have a broken bone. I can't have a broken bone. She's like, short version is, you need to go and get an x-ray or two. Do you want some painkillers? And I was like, I've got some paracetamol. but I've been trying to drink that coffee to line my stomach so that I can take some paracetamol. She was like, that's not important. Let me get you some good painkillers. I was like, here we go. Now we're talking. She went away, she came back. She was like, there's a couple of painkillers, strong, all that. Here's a glass of water. Don't put your jacket on. You won't have it on long because you're going to go and see the x-ray people. She was like, go down this corridor, turn left at the end, go all the way down to the end. Tell them you're there because they won't realise otherwise. Job done. I get down there. I don't even have time to send a text message to say I'm going for 2 x-rays before they call me in for said x-rays. They're like, right, we're going to x-ray your arm, so sit in this chair, we're going to put you here, do this, that and the other. I was like, cool. Oh, one thing I did skip. I told the lady what I couldn't do. Before she sent me for an x-ray, I told her I couldn't rotate my arm. So if you check the time, I couldn't do that. I couldn't check the time because I can't rotate my arm. That's how she knew what I'd done. She tried to get me to do something and then she was like, does this hurt? And I went, hell yes. She was like, yeah. It's a broken radial. I'm like, fuck. So I'm in x-ray. That was a little bit like a flashback. I'm in x-ray. Gonna do this. Can you put your arm here? Yes. Okay. 2 seconds, we'll do a little x-ray. Can you put your arm here? Yes. 2 seconds, we'll do an x-ray. Can you put your arm here? And I went, no, because that's the movement I can't do. Oh, well, that's the one we need. Of course it is. Okay, let's see if there's another way we can do this. So ultimately, I ended up having to stand with a bed that was practically up to the ceiling with my arm bent backwards and me leaning over slightly. So that was that. And they took that x-ray and that was that. Right, let's do your foot. The foot was like, you've been doing yoga, haven't you? Sure. Good. Because this one is really going to test your yoga abilities. I was like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. Some of the positions, at one point she was like, oh, you're a little bit close to the edge of the bed. I'm afraid you're going to fall off. You put me here. Anyway, she was lovely. That was that. She said, go back to the waiting room that you started in. Okay. Somebody will call you, take you through your x-rays. Fine. And she said, I wouldn't put your jacket back on because you're probably going to need it off. And I went, I wonder what she means. Back to the waiting room. I mean, I don't even think I was there 10 minutes. I managed to finish sending the message saying I've gone for 2 x-rays and then followed it up by saying, and now I'm back. And before I managed to get through both of those text messages, they called me in. So, in I go. And the lady's like, we're going to go in the office and we're going to look at your x-rays so I can show you what you've done. And I'm like... And as we get into the office, she goes, as you suspected, your toe's fine. Cool. 1 down, 1 to go. At which point she said, however, on the other hand, your arm isn't. She's like, you have broken your radial head. And went on to tell me that the radial head is like a hockey puck that sits on top of the bone. And when you stop yourself from falling, that bit shoots upwards from the impact and goes into your humerus. She showed me that the reason that she knew it was broken was because she could see this angle that she wasn't supposed to be able to see. This, that, and the other. She was like, however, if you look at this picture, which is like a top down, she's like, you can clearly see the break. And I went, cool. Now, this is where it got, I don't know what you would call it. The good news, bad news bear. The good news, bad news situation. Whatever you want. The shit sandwich, some people would call it. Good news. This is the kind of break that we don't put in a cast. I went, okay. All I could think was, yay. no cast. It's like, yeah, it's the kind of break that needs to have movement to heal, to repair, all that sort of stuff. So we don't cast it. It's like, oh, brilliant. It's like, however, it is the kind of break that might require a wire putting in it. And I was like, shit, because that's surgery. So, she took me into a different room. She was like, we don't put it in a cast, but we do put it in a sling. Cool. She went through the fact that a consultant needs to look at the results to decide what they're going to do, which is one of those. They may decide to put it in a cast. They may decide to put a wire in it, which, like I say, is surgery, or they may just leave it in the sling. I'm not going to lie. Not on top of my list of things to do in the last week. Broken arm. All I could think about was things like, as Leanne keeps saying to me, you can't drive anywhere. Fantastic. Can't pick up my son. I can't pick up any of my children, but can't pick up my son, which is not great. At this point in time, no running, no working out. I'm going to lose any gains that I might have had up to this point from things like running and working out. Working out is the main one I'm considering, but all the stamina, all the breathing, all of those sorts of things that you get with running pretty much every day, the distance, all of it is going to go. So I'm waiting for a phone call from a consultant who's going to tell me what's going to happen. Now then, in a weird turn of events, I got up at 5:45 this morning, dressed in my running gear. Now, I know what you're thinking, but calm it. Dressed in my running gear. And went for a 4-mile walk. There's a lot that I could go into. There's a lot I could say. There's a lot of the downsides to a lot of this. It hurts. I can't, I can no longer say I've never officially broken a bone. I am worried and concerned about a multitude of things. Like, even if they come back and they're like, oh, actually, we do need to cast it, I'll be like, I don't want that, thank you. And especially if they then say that they have to put a wire in. Something I do want to say, something I want to talk about, something I have mentioned previously, to turn all this on its head. I went to A&E on a Sunday morning. There was not many people there from an NHS perspective. And there was obviously more people coming as time went on. Yes, I sat for, let's call it 2 hours of solid sitting. Within 40 minutes, I had seen someone, I'm going to say a nurse, let's just go with that. I'd seen a nurse who sent me for not one, but 2 x-rays, who then sent me back to see the same nurse who took me through those x-rays, who put me in a sling, who gave me some prescription medication, and sent me on my way inside of 40 minutes. Yes, I was sat for 2 hours feeling sorry for myself on a Sunday morning when I could have been making my children breakfast and all of those other things. Yes, I have ended up with a broken arm. It's nothing to do with the NHS. But in any given situation, for a service that is ultimately free, although it's, I honestly can't, you can't say enough good things about that. Yes, it was 2 hours of my Sunday morning gone, but I was home in time to make my children lunch. So, yeah, I had to do it one-handed, but So, from me personally, I want to give a huge shout out to the NHS, to the nurses, all the technicians, doctors, anybody that does that sort of job. There were people there that were kicking off. And there's a lot more I could say about that, because I had quite a strong opinion about some of the people that I saw in the hospital, because the hospital at this point in time in the world that we live in is probably one of the only, if not the only place you have to wear a mask. And if you can't do that, and if you can't wear it properly, nose and mouth covered, then anyway, big shout out to the NHS. Fantastic work, fantastic jobs. The woman I spoke to was some kind of like Walter White kind of character. She was telling me about all these different combinations that I could do with the drugs she gave me and paracetamol, and you don't want to go too far this way, but you don't want to go too far this way, so you want something in the middle. So maybe try this and maybe try that, and maybe try the other. But she was lovely and she was very efficient and she was fantastic, and she got me on my way in a very short space of time. If you think about that, 40 minutes end to end, home to make lunch for my children. So there's that. As I said at the start of this situation will affect the rest of my life. It's that simple. There's never not going to be a point in time where there's something that comes back to me breaking my arm. All I can think is, what's it going to be like trying to lift weights for the first time, whenever that's going to be? Will I forget how to drive? Some people tell you that I don't know as it is. All of that sort of stuff. From this point on, life will be different. But big shout out to the NHS. That's the week. Let's talk some entertainment. I did watch a film. It's not a film I want to go into. There was more the impact of the film I was watching. Short version is I watched Iron Man. Yes, Iron Man. But I watched it with my eldest, and that was quite a big thing for us in our house and that sort of stuff. Very enjoyable experience to sit and watch a film like that with my eldest child. So, let's talk some TV instead. But I'll get a drink beforehand. So, TV-wise, I've watched episode 3, 4 and 5, of Welcome to the Chippendales. As a series, I know people struggled with watching Pam and Tommy for various reasons. I know a lot of people didn't necessarily finish it. I kind of feel this way about Welcome to the Chippendales. I just find that the two main characters in it are just idiots. And it makes it very difficult for me to watch, because I'm like, why are you doing this? You're idiots. It's good TV. It's very compelling to watch. But the main characters annoy me, because they're idiots and people that can't be happy with what they've got in life. You just be happy. But anyway, I started a new TV series. The problem is, the reason I saw it was it came up on a list of this is what's leaving Amazon Prime in the next 30 days. And then I saw this TV series. I was like, that looks cool. So I started watching that, like an episode and a half into it, which is cool from that perspective. However, I don't think I'm going to get it watched inside of 30 days, and I don't know when it went on, but it's called Six. It's a little TV series about a SEAL Team 6, or SEAL Team 6. It's good. There's a couple of guys I recognise from a couple of other things, and it's got Walter Goggins in, who's been in a variety of films and things. It's been very good so far. I've enjoyed it. It's very much sort of thing that I would want to be watching, with all the sort of books and stuff I've been reading recently. But I am worried that it is going to go off before I get it finished. So there's that. Computer games. found out randomly the Callisto Protocol, the update for New Game Plus had just randomly gone on. Nobody told me. So I was like, I am definitely getting all over that. Been playing Need for Speed, been sort of chugging along through the second... It's like the second week of Need for Speed. I think I'm going to end up in the same situation where I'm going to get to the end of the week and not have enough whatever money, usually. So I'll probably end up having to repeat the last day maybe a couple of times. We'll see. I've got quite a few cars now, which is kind of nice to have a bit of an option to chop and change. Does mean that I keep spending all of my money on parts for a lot of different cars, which is why I haven't got enough money to do the races. So, so started Callisto Protocol on New Game Plus. Honestly, the more I play that game, the more it annoys me the reviews it got, because it's good. It's a good game. It's an enjoyable game. I am enjoying that game. Kind of one of those that you don't want to put it down sort of thing. When I turn it off, I'm sad that I've got to turn it off. I'm working towards trying to get all the weapon upgrades, which I think will take the game up another notch. Seems to be taking a bit longer to get like money in this one. I don't know if there's something that's been set to make it a bit more difficult. But the upgrades I'm trying to buy are the big upgrades in the game, like the super upgrades for the weapons, so they cost that bit more anyway. So it's a bit of swings and roundabouts, I guess. That's it. That's basically it. Almost bang on an hour. Give me a thumbs up or a subscribe through pity for the broken arm. And I will catch you next time. So there we go. What do you think of that? A doozy of an episode. Yes, the arm is broken. Duh. Anyway, before you go, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment, even if it's just out of sympathy or pity or any of those. Check out the website. It's thecookiecast.com. You can check out our social media links and email button. Send me a get well soon email or anything like that. Tell me that you think I'm a wimp. That's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this awesome cookie cast.